Before becoming a believer, were you a mocker of believers?
No.
No, interesting.
No,
I didn't know that.
no,
That's
so,
interesting.
Now, what's even more interesting is I didn't know any. Not one person in 32 years told me that Jesus loved me.
I really learned a lot as your dad by watching you guys and your radical faith.
Well, and it was too like, hey, you teach this stuff. We're going to do it.
Always remember President Truman, they used to call him, give him hell, Harry. I don't give anybody hell. I just speak truth, and they've never experienced truth before, so it feels like hell to them.
Name one church 60 years ago that had a vision statement.
There's not any.
Why not?
If you don't give them something to reject, have you given them anything to accept?
I would say.
You know? Hi, I'm Robby Dawkins, and I've got some exciting news for you. We're starting something that you're going to want to stay tuned for, and you're going to want to see, and you're going to want to actively be a part of. We are starting a VOD/podcast called Radical Radio. Now, anybody who knows me, you know I go to some crazy places in the world, go to some of the most dangerous countries in the world. Not some, the most dangerous countries in the world, and have been doing missions work and spreading the gospel, advancing the kingdom, building up the underground church there. Well, we're starting this podcast where you can tune in and you can hear from some really radical people. We're not just going to be talking about that with evangelism and missions. We're going to be talking about what's the state of the church today? What's the state of our nation today? Where have we fallen short? You know, Jesus said some pretty challenging things. And one thing you'll learn about Jesus if you read his words is that Jesus was good, but he wasn't necessarily nice. And what's happened in today is we've gotten the idea that in order to be a Christian, you got to be nice. And now everything's got to be nice. And what a lot of churches have done is that whenever, though they may stand up, they may speak up, but as soon as they get pushback, they kind of drop their head back down and kind of tuck away. Well, that's not what God has called us to be. What has happened in our community throughout the Western world, throughout the world, is a lot of the church has all of a sudden become the thermometer rather than the thermostat. Well, the difference with the thermometer is it adjusts to the temperature in the atmosphere. It adjusts to the atmosphere around it. The difference with a thermostat is it sets the temperature in the atmosphere. That's what God has called us to be as his followers. Christ has called us to set the righteous, holy temperature in the atmosphere of the community around us rather than succumbing to it and adjusting to it and adapting to it. We're going to talk about different subjects along those lines. How that we need to stand up, how that we need to speak up in things like media, how that we need to speak up in things like politics. You know, for a long time, I would not talk about politics and I would stay away from the topic. Had strong views, had strong opinions and feelings and convictions most of all. But I began to succumb to the idea of, oh, I got to keep it nice, may lose the audience if I don't do that, may, have people that fall off along the way. And then all of a sudden the Lord spoke to me and said, did I worry about that? Did you see me be cautious of that? And so all of a sudden I was like, you know what? We're throwing that out. We're not going to be cautious anymore. We're going to speak to the truth, and we're going to speak the truth, and we're going to address things that matter to us. A part of this is that we're going to talk about what does it mean? What does marriage mean today? Not what our community is thinking of it. We'll hit that too. But what does the Bible say about it? What does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a woman? What does that look like? What does the world need from us? What do your children need from you? One of the things that we have to do is many times we have to die to what we want or what we feel to what is the right thing to do and what is truth. There is a set truth. There is not a your truth and my truth. There is God's truth, and that is the truth. And so we're going to address those types of things. We're going to talk about divorce. We're going to talk about what does that mean? What did the Bible mean? What were statements that were in there mean? And how does that relate in our community today? These are all things that we need to address because in many ways the church isn't addressing them. And we need to speak up to them. We need to speak up. And it may shock you, some of the things that you may hear on this program. That's why it's called Radical Radio. We're going to bring some radical people on. They're going to be talking about spiritual abuse and what does it mean within the church when there are people that are being abusive, how to respond to that. What does it mean when churches are abusive to ministers? And what are we supposed to do in that? Many of these topics are taboo, but we're going to address them because they need to be addressed. So I want to encourage you. You do not want to miss Radical Radio. You want to tune in. You want to hear some of the stories we're going to share, some of the experiences we're going to share, but more importantly, you're going to hear the truth that we're going to share and explore together so that we can come to an understanding of what is it exactly that we're supposed to be in this world today. So I want to invite you, tune in. We're going to come out with a couple every month, and then we're going to go to a little bit more regular schedule. So like it, share it, and be a part of Radical Radio. We'll see you there.